Here with Coach Coen, back for his second season as offensive coordinator.
After turning after you in the NFL and given our short time
We've got, so we won't go any further into introductions. Y'all know who he is, so we'll turn loose for questions.
Appreciate it.
Coach Coen, you guys have had in this system, not necessarily you, but Kentucky has had either Chris or Benny for like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
How does it change the approach when it's not necessarily that constant workflow guy that's been here for years?
You know, I do have a lot of confidence in the guys that are here right now. What that looks like, I can't really say right now in terms of how many reps or how many carries each guy gets, but it will be a little bit different in terms of being able to utilize all of our backs, utilizing all of our personnel. As you mentioned, Chris, that was my only experience was with Chris, and I knew, we could hand him the ball and you were going to get 4. That was something that you knew as a coordinator, as a play caller. That was very nice and reassuring. I do have a lot of confidence in the guys that we have in this room, but how we disperse some of those carries might look a little bit different. And you really go back and look. I was talking to the running backs recently. You look at the LSU game from 2 years ago, and we ran for 300 something yards in that game, and Chris only had 19 carries. And so if you can really kind of get all those guys a lot of work while keeping them fresh throughout the season, I think that'll be really important for us moving forward.
What have you seen from Devin, and just what's that relationship been like? Getting used to that,
Yeah, he's great. Devin, he's got a great way about him. He just has a really nice way of connecting with people, just so naturally. And he's a really high football IQ kid. He loves the game. He studies the game. Like last night, I called him on my way home. He was watching 2016 LA Rams Hard Knocks. I'm like, well, how did you come to that? He's like, I just, ended up coming across it. I'm like, he's all ball, but extremely relatable to his peers while also his coaches. And also he's talented. He's talented, so it makes it fun to really work with somebody like that.
Coach, he seems like he's a born leader. Is that right?
Very natural. Not rah-rah, not always out in front, having to be the guy to speak and be that kind of person, but he leads by example. He leads by the way he approaches the game, and like you said, that's natural.
To come through with his injury,
Yeah.
to come back,
Yeah.
that tells me he's a leader.
Oh, there's no question. He worked. He wasn't even really supposed to be throwing. When the doctor said, "Hey, when we're going to do this thing, we don't even know when you're going to be able to throw again," and he worked so tirelessly to get to the point that he got to, and he's throwing the ball even better than he did this spring, and he feels extremely strong. He's had a couple freak injuries throughout his career. I don't think he's a soft tissue, injury-prone kid. I just think he's had some unfortunate issues that have come up that have really driven him to become the player that he is.
Potential unlimited. Isn't it?
I think so. I really do. I mean, if we can keep him upright, we got a chance.
Liam, speaking of that,
Yeah.
when you came back, this is a paraphrase, you said fixing the offensive line was job one.
Yep.
So where is that, where are you?
I think we're getting there. Extremely difficult to tell after 2 practices with no pads on. But the group, I think we, evaluated and identified some players in the portal that would help us out from a depth standpoint. We lost a few, but do feel good about the guys that did come in, and simplifying some of the protection schemes, simplifying some of the run schemes so that, hey, we can get really good at the things that we want to major in. And then we can just have some wrinkles off of those protections or run plays to have some good things for game planning and all that stuff, but just giving them a better chance, I think, will also help.
When you saw Dane and Marion started working with them, just how excited did you get just knowing you were going to be able to work with those?
Yeah, being a part of their recruiting process and then not being able to work with them in year one. So you get them after a year of being a college football player and be able to evaluate the film. A lot of times last year, they were just running around being natural football players and athletes. So now, how do we get them to be the best receivers that they can be? Route running, detail, splits, alignment, assignment. Knowing that when you get the ball in their hands, typically good things can happen. So how do we develop that skill set? to move forward and give them the best possibility of being successful, not only now, but in their futures. So love those guys. I mean, been in my house a number of times, really close with them in terms of just the relationship piece. So really excited to see where this thing can go and to build off the success they had last year.
Liam, back to that offensive line,
Yep.
Corbin Ford played left tackle, you see, play right for y'all. How difficult is it for a player like that to make a transition on that side, and what do you see from him that makes you think he can make that transition?
Again, another really high football IQ kid. I mean, well coached at USC. Got 2 A's this summer in his summer classes. Just does everything right. He cares. He studies. He knows the game. So for him to be able to make that transition isn't that difficult for him. He's athletic. He's long. He's smart. Fits in extremely well in the room with his coaches. So excited about seeing what he can do for us. Keep competing at that spot for us. And, but really love Cortland and the approach that he's taken so far coming in here.
Months into this, how do you feel about the inroads you've made in that high school quarterback recruiting?
Yep.
In general, as you balance that with the
Yeah, for years, right? I mean, it was difficult, and you get a couple quarterback. Will helps us out a ton when you see that success, and then you go get a Devin, who's experienced quarterback, had a lot of snaps under his belt, and he comes, and then that helps, right? It just helps your overall recruiting in general in terms of getting higher caliber players in here, also recruiting the likes of the Dane Keys and Barryon Browns, getting better skill players in here so that when you are recruiting the quarterback position at the high school level, they see the future. They see the possibilities of what this can be at some point with good athletes around them. We've always been solid up front in terms of some of that stuff. So, it helps. And then some of the pro style system, the cell, all that can kind of help with the development of where they could potentially go.
Liam, our quarterbacks last year were the most sacked in the SEC. Can you talk about what you saw in review of last season and what potentially led to that mental errors, physicality?
I think just maybe a little too much sometimes in terms of just maybe too much scheme a little bit at times, and sometimes as a coach, we feel as though, okay, well, we've got some injuries. We've got some things up front that might not be the same as they were the year before, and you try to fix it with scheme, right? And sometimes simplifying is actually better, and I think that maybe just a little bit too much volume at times still was a new system for a lot of those guys coming in, and then you got moving parts. I dealt with it last year. We had 13 different starting offensive lines last year with the Rams. That's an NFL record. Not one you want to be a part of. Just being honest, it's the worst feeling in the world. And so I sympathize with what happened last year. And I don't fully just blame the players, and you don't fully blame the coaches. It's a collaborative effort. Now, okay, how do we evaluate what happened last year? Okay, we're in a 5-man protection. Well, the quarterback needs to know who he's hot off of, right? We're in a 6-man protection, okay? Who's the back responsible? Just simplifying your basic schemes and protections while also giving the players the best chance of being successful.
Larry and Nevis,
Yeah.
two different people.
Yeah.
And the way they play the game and all this. But we know that at some points in times, with almost every team, you're gonna have a breakdown.
Yep.
And the breakdown, does Larry have the ability to get a first down?
Yeah, I think he can move enough to be able. He's savvy, and the nice thing about Devin that when he does move in the pocket or escape out of the pocket, he tries to do a really good job of remaining a passer. So he's got his eyes down the field. I think you'll see when he does escape and move, being able to keep our eligibles alive, to be able to find guys on the move. Whereas, Will, when he would escape, a lot of times, he was rolling, and there were some great plays that he made. So many third downs I can remember where it was a poor play call or the defense schemed it up better than we did, and he went and made a play. You just can't account for that. But as a defense, when you have a quarterback that can move around a little bit, escape the pocket while remaining a passer, now your scramble drill gets into play and guys can, free up on the back end. Yeah, that's when the guy, he's just a quarterback, he'll tell you he's not the best runner in the world in terms of lowering his shoulder, but I think he can go and get us a couple first downs. But I believe some of the plays that he'll make outside of the pocket will be more with his arm.
Liam, aside from the connections to Devin,
What did you guys see in Tammy that made you guys want to get him, and what have you seen from him in limited time since
He's got here.
Yeah, another when Demi came up, on his visit, you saw another high football IQ kid. Just loves the game, pours into it. All he does is watch YouTube videos of football, and that's his passion. And we want to try to get as many players in here that have that same passion. He's got great hands, good missability in the open field, and I think he'll be good in pass protection as well. Well, you look at some of the ways that you can use him. I think he's got some ability to play multiple positions. He can play receiver, he can play running back, he can catch the ball in the backfield, he can protect. So, when you're looking at the position or any position in the portal, you're trying to continue to add competition and depth to that position. So, been really happy with what we've seen out of Demi so far.
One mentioned that the wide receiver position is a little bit different.
Right.
You'll have to manage
Yeah.
maybe some reps. Who are some guys on the two you've already
Right.
mentioned, Brown and Key,
Yeah,
that have to kind of make a push?
Tavion Robinson, it's a big fall for him. This is a big training camp for Tavion Robinson to truly take the next step and come on and be consistent, effort, all that stuff for us to be good on offense. You talk about DeKel Crowdis and Anthony Brown. Really, those are the three guys right now that if they can step up and be consistent and be accountable, then we've got 5 wideouts that we can trust. Really look at it 2 years ago. It was Wandell, it was Josh Ali. Epps played, right? DeMarcus Harris played some. But if you're looking at 5 versus 5, I think we're in a good spot right now. Wandell had 104 catches. You can't take that back. That's hard to replace, right? So we have to do a better job of utilizing the tight ends more, utilizing the running backs maybe more in the pass game to spread out that wealth and spread out the targets so that, hey, it's not just Barryon and Dane. All those other guys can step up, but it's also other position groups that we're going to have to be able to utilize.
Folks, thank you very much. Okay, last
Yeah,
one.
what's that? Similar to most years, I know they're well coached. I do. I know they're well coached. They step out on the field every single day, and they know exactly what they're doing. They don't make mistakes. They're consistent. But I think if you look at us now from 2 years ago, I think we have a little bit more of a diverse room in terms of some of the things that we can ask those tight ends to do, both in the run game, in the pass game. We might be able to utilize those guys a little bit more. Hey, spread them out wide. They're good blockers, but also I think we can really do a good job of utilizing them in the pass game to create some different mismatches.
Okay, folks, thank you very much. We'll head out to our activities on the field.
Thanks, guys.